Welcome to the Beyond the Mat podcast, an in-depth talk show discussing exclusively WWE topics.
My name's Rick Boogs, and I came to rock with the Beyond the Mat podcast that is beyond the M-A-T-T podcast. Ah!
All right, it is July 1st, 2022. It's Friday Night Smackdown review on Beyond the Mat podcast. Follow us on all podcast platforms. Follow me on Twitter at Beyond Mat WWE. Join us on Patreon for ad-free content, bonus content, Discord, other benefits as well. $1 is our lowest tier. We have $3, $5, and $10 tiers as well. Merchandise is involved in the benefits. Tonight we had our 7th and final male qualify for the men's ladder match, Money in the Bank, for tomorrow night. Bit of a surprise, bit of a difference. If we would have had that Ezekiel and Kevin Owens match on Monday, it would have been totally different. We also saw 6 of the 7 women take on each other in a 3-on-3 match, and we saw Maximum Male Models make their debut. It was pretty much who I thought it would be, but it was very entertaining. And the Viking Raiders basically did the same exact thing they did last week to the New Day, minus Shanky being involved in the dancing. So I have Brad with me tonight. How's it going, Brad?
Hey, Matt, great to be on with you, man.
What'd you think of the episode tonight? And did it get you ready for Money in the Bank?
Sort of and sort of not, but I really enjoyed watching it. There was a lot of people on, a lot of unexpected type of people that were on. It was great to see everyone in the matches standing on those ladders at the beginning. It was great seeing all those women in a 6-man tag with all 7 of them eventually when Becky came out, so it was great.
Yeah, I think the point of having, those 7 women out on there at the same time, having all the men in the Battle Royal at the beginning, Money in the Bank match, qualifying, Fatal 4-Way at the end, and then the couple packages we had for Natalya and Ronda, it was all about giving you a preview of different things you may see in Money in the Bank ladder matches tomorrow. That's what they were going for. They were going to put all those stars from Raw and SmackDown on tonight's show. And that's what ended up happening. Now, started the show off with a bunch of guys on ladders. Rollins, Riddle, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus all up on ladders. I don't think Omos can get on a ladder, so he was in the ring with MVP. Rollins is talking about how whoever wins the Money in the Bank needs to cash in on the last man standing match winner, either Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar. Riddle cuts in, says that he wants it to be Roman Reigns so he can beat that piece of trash. Sami Zayn comes in and says he'll win Money in the Bank, protect it for the bloodline. MVP then says they're all a bunch of idiots. Their idiocy is unbelievable. And Vegas says Omos is the favorite. And Sheamus starts talking about how he's cashed in on Roman. And if it's Lesnar, he doesn't really know what he's going to do. And then Drew just says that he's beaten Lesnar in 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden we got Miz interrupting this. He comes in and says he deserves to be in it. Zeke basically says he deserves to be in it. Corbin comes in, Moss comes in. They all want to be in Money in the Bank. Adam Pearce comes out and he starts a battle royal with all these guys. So they get the ladders out of the ring. They have a battle royal. So what do you think of the opening segment leading into the battle royal?
I mean, first of all, there was a lot of cool stuff. Like it was just cool seeing them all on the ladders again, and just, you know, everyone's talking and Seth saying this. One of the interesting things that I noticed, and I know you noticed too, is that Seth once again brings up his cash in and how Roman and Brock are going to be at SummerSlam, and it's the perfect situation. They're going to be exhausted and they're going to be beating the hell out of each other, and that's when he's going to swoop in. And I mean, how many times have they brought this up? Almost to the point that
that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen no matter what. Somebody's taking a title, and I don't think it's going to be after the match is. Well, it may be right after the match is over. I don't think they're going to insert themselves in the last man standing match.
Right. So, I mean, but are they making it too obvious? Are they bringing it up on purpose over and over and over again with different people saying it to make you believe, oh, like that's what's going to happen? And then there's some crazy twist to that, which I can't even imagine what it's going to be. Because if it's anything other than Roman losing one of the two championship belts, I'm going to be super disappointed, man.
Well, I think, really Rollins is the only one sort of laying that out there. And then, you know, Riddle comes in and says, well, if I do it, I'm cashing in on Roman. It doesn't matter when or where. You know what I mean? And Zayn wants to protect it. Drew wants to do what he wants to do. Sheamus, you know, is afraid of Brock Lesnar. But, you know, I feel like if anything, the thing that's very obvious is that it's going to be Rollins. And it may be somebody else who cashes in the same way Rollins did. Or his cash-in strategy doesn't work. I don't know. Maybe they wait for Drew McIntyre to win one of the titles. I don't know, but because Drew McIntyre's not going to win Money in the Bank. He's going to be facing Roman Reigns at the Clash of the Castle. So that's why I feel like it's just obvious Rollins is going to win this, and then he's probably going to get the title from him. And he's going to move on to a feud with Riddle because that's their next top guy. Lashley's going to be the U.S. champion after tomorrow. You know, it all seems very telegraphed all the way around. But just on tonight's thing, we get into a battle royal. We got Riddle, Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Sami Zayn, The Miz, Ezekiel, Madcap Moss, and Happy Corbin. And then Omos as well. So Omos is beating down Riddle and Sheamus. Sammy tries in and starts taking out Riddle as well. He gets stopped. McIntyre starts beating the hell out of Rollins. Then we get Zeke eliminated by Omos. Madcap quickly eliminated by Omos. And Miz eliminated by Omos. All back to back to back pretty quick. They're trying to basically put Omos over here as a monster early in the match. Sammy gets feeded to... Actually, when Miz got eliminated, Sammy sort of whipped Miz into Omos. So that was pretty funny. So Riddle attacks Omos. Then Drew starts standing off with Omos, powers out of a chokeslam. Rollins eliminates himself after he looks at Omos and says he doesn't want to have anything to do with him. Then Omos gets eliminated by Riddle, who had a triangle around his head, and then Drew and Sheamus came in and assisted him in getting Omos out of there. So they put over how, you know, take 3 guys to get Omos out of the ring. So they're just trying to do little things with people that are in the Money in the Bank match here. People are chanting Riddle throughout the entire match here. Sheamus wipes out Riddle with a couple clotheslines. Sheamus is hitting the 10 beats on Sammy, but Riddle comes in and hits a nice looking throw to sleep and then hits a running Broton on him. Riddle powers, slams, and hits a draping DDT as well. Riddle then gets eliminated by Sheamus because he jumps onto the top rope, tries a high-risk maneuver. Sheamus Bro kicks him in the face, and he gets eliminated. Zayn eventually gets eliminated by McIntyre after McIntyre runs wild on everybody, hits a couple over the head, release belly-to-belly suplexes out of the corner. Then Sheamus and McIntyre are finally both eliminated by Corbin, who wins the Battle Royal. He was hiding ringside like the heel that he is, sneaks in, and when Sheamus and McIntyre were struggling over the ropes, he got rid of both of them. So they put over basically everybody in every kind of different way in this one. You got Omos as a giant. It shows us that Riddle can, have some dominance. You have Drew basically beating the hell out of everybody and overpowering people. Rollins being, a snake and a joker that just wants to run away from, somebody like Omos and sneak his way into a win. Corbin being the heel that he is, but he didn't eventually make it into the Money in the Bank match anyway. And the participant that did was eliminated early in this match before they really did anything. But what do you think of the just overall working in this battle royal? Battle royals can often be very sloppy and hard to follow and just a mess. I felt like they did a decent job in this one.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I have a thing where I just love battle royals. I just think they're great. I just really have fun watching them, and I just think they're really interesting. And there's something different from the typical one-on-one match that you normally get or whatever. So I personally always like them. Bad night for Ezekiel though, bro. Really, he was the first one eliminated in the battle royal, which I said to myself, I was like, I don't know if he's going to be the first one eliminated in the battle royal. And then go on to win the 4-way later that night. Now, what I thought they were going to do to make some sense out of this battle royal is have the last 4 people somehow be Ezekiel, Corbin, The Miz, and Moss, and then have the 4 of them say, we're the only 4 that aren't in this thing yet. We want a match. Screw the end of this battle royal type of thing. Or you could have made it more relevant to the final match. What you also could have done was something along the lines of, the 4 of them are remaining, and they say, all right, whoever wins this, it's a gauntlet match, and that person's last, or something. Pierce could have interrupted it, or something like that. I don't know.
I think that undercut. I think that the point is that they all came out and said they deserved to be in it, so they established that there. Pierce makes the battle royal. You don't want to. If you do that, you end up. There's 3 guys out of the 4 that aren't even going to be in Money in the Bank. You got different stars and big personalities in the match that you don't want to undercut by having Madcap Moss, Corbin, Miz, and Ezekiel all as the last 4 standing with all those other 6 top guys in there minus Omos. And so I just think that while I understand what you're saying, it would help set up the main event better or whatever. I think that's too much of Adam Pearce coming out and interrupting matches and changing it. And then it's too much of basically finding a way for those 4 guys to present themselves as stronger than the 6 guys already qualified for it.
Sure. And I hear your point. I'm just trying to say there really was no point to the match, but it was a lot of fun. There really was no point to it.
No, the only point to it was to have different people do different shit and sort of show what Money in the Bank match will look like minus the ladder and minus throwing people over the top ropes. It really, you know what I mean? It was very different.
Correct.
It's so different, but at the same, I don't know. That they just wanted to get all the people in it's a way to get everybody in the Money in the Bank in another kind of match.
Absolutely. And I enjoyed watching it, man. I thought it was cool. I thought it was better camera-wise. It was done better than the Battle Royal that was on Raw. So that was a big plus, in my opinion. And it was definitely interesting and, good to see, in a certain way, like Corbin at the end being the snake he is, like you said, win it. I thought was kind of an interesting ending that I don't think anyone really expected,
I kind of saw it coming when everybody was in there doing stuff and Corbin was nowhere to be found. And I knew he wasn't eliminated. I was like, all right, he's probably going to come in here and take out whoever the last two guys are. And sure enough, that's what happened. But he never got eliminated, and then you didn't see him for like a pretty good amount of time. But whatever. Ronda Rousey, Natalya video package. Got anything to say about this feud?
No, I just didn't really need to see it again. The video package. I mean, there were some new elements to it that I guess were more. I guess weren't shown last week necessarily, but it was just a rehash of what we saw last week. Time filler.
Yeah. The whole they got beef or whatever. I don't know if it's legit anymore, but it was at one time, and Rousey was basically, shooting on Natalya last week. She came off as being the heel in the situation, and then they started fighting over a stroller. But whatever.
Did you notice that they didn't show, when they were recapping what was said last week, they didn't show the part about the impossible body standards and that was the one part of the promo that Rousey said that they just didn't show. Everything else they did.
Well, they probably shouldn't have showed it, to be honest. She shouldn't have said that. But anyway, she that was like an unscripted promo, and she like went off on her because apparently they had some beef with their social media stuff, like if you look at it. But this is a match that I can't wait for it to be over. I can't wait for whoever the hell Ronda Rousey's facing next to come. It's just I've said enough positive things about Natalya. I understand that she's very experienced, and this will probably be a decent match and whatever. She can put on a good match. She's a good heel. She's veteran, but that's great. It's just not an exciting feud. This is basically like a poor man's Charlotte Flair feud for Ronda Rousey. Another whose submission moves better than the other, and it's just, so that's how I feel about it. We had New Day out here with the Viking Raiders scheduled to have a tag team match, and they go straight to blows with each other. The Viking Raiders beat the hell out of the New Day, give a double power bomb to Kofi Kingston, stack him on top of Xavier Woods, and so we don't have any match. We just had the Viking Raiders standing tall and beating the hell out of New Day again. Well, what do you think of this one?
I was really happy it wasn't a match, man. I was just really happy that it was just a beatdown and that was it. I really didn't want to see this match, which maybe says something for the whole situation in general. But I don't know how you felt about it, man. But I did kind of like the Viking Raiders' use of the shields. I thought it was kind of interesting, in a certain way, the way they were using the shields and came out beating ass with that, and how everyone was calling them the new vicious Viking Raiders, that was like the name, but New Day was calling them that. Pat McAfee was calling them that. I actually think they were announced by Samantha Irving as the new vicious Viking Raiders.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were. So I don't know if that's like their new name or it's just I don't know, but definitely happy it wasn't a match, man. I did not want to see a match between these two teams. I know we're going to get one eventually, but I was happy it was just a beatdown. That's it.
Well, we need to get one because I need to see these vicious Viking Raiders actually work a match and not just have two beatdown segments with two guys just laying there for them. You know what I mean? Like I want to see it happen. I like the fact
I do too.
And
I felt like tonight, though, was about Money in the Bank, and it wasn't about that tonight. That's what I mean.
It wasn't. And that's why they really could have done without the segment period. But I guess they don't want us to forget about how vicious the Viking Raiders are. So
right.
We're not going to. Backstage, we have Miz, Corbin, Moss, and Ezekiel all talking to Pierce about how they should be qualified for Money in the Bank. They all give a rundown of their qualifications. Madcap says he's just happy to be there. And then Pierce makes the fatal four-way main event match for the 7th and final spot. Then we get a match 3-on-3, 6-woman tag match. Raw versus SmackDown. At first, I was thinking, what the hell are these heels and faces doing? And then I realized what was going on. But it's Raquel Rodriguez, Lacey Evans, Shotzi versus Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Asuka. Becky Lynch was on commentary for this. Thought it was a pretty good match. We'll get into it after our first break, though.
The Beyond the Mat Podcast. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Beyond the Mat Podcast.
All right, back to Beyond the Mat SmackDown review for July 1st, 2022. We are talking about the 6-women tag match. Raquel, Lacey, and Shotzi versus Alexa, Liv, and Asuka. Becky Lynch on commentary. I thought Becky was very good on commentary. I think there's a reason why they're featuring her. She's probably my favorite to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. This is basically a way to show us all these women interacting together ahead of the match. There was a lot of different interactions. There was a lot of botches in this match. Liv Morgan botched a backstabber in the corner to Shotzi. Shotzi didn't sell it well either. Then there was a point where Liv Morgan hit a senton bomb over the top rope. Take out Shotzi and Lacey Evans. Then Raquel got out to ringside. And Liv hit the senton. She came up short on it. The girls had to catch her and reach out. But then we had Raquel at ringside. She got taken out by Alexa Bliss. The end of the match, Asuka comes in. She hits a hip attack on Evans. Then a shoulder block to Shotzi. Asuka then gets an ankle lock and a German suplex. But misses a hip attack on Liv. Liv tags in. Hits a knee to Shotzi. Raquel makes a save on the pin there. Evans then hits the women's right to Liv Morgan. Everyone then gets out of the ring. Eventually, Liv hits Oblivion on Shotzi for the 1-2-3. Then Lynch gets in the ring and manhandle slams Asuka. I thought that the match, there was some good parts to it, but it was very disjointed. There was some botches. Some of it really didn't make sense, like where people ended up. They just didn't sell things correctly. It was just like suddenly Liv Morgan and Shotzi were both in the ring together just after Liv Morgan took a women's right from Lacey Evans. I don't know what got Raquel out of the ring. What got Asuka out
Bliss
of it?
took the women's right, but that's okay.
Bliss took the women's right. Regardless,
yeah.
I told you I always get the two of them confused in the ring. But,
yeah, it's easy to.
But now, so Liv's selling on the side. Alexa Bliss takes the women's right. She rolls out. Then what happens with Evans and Raquel that they end up out of the ring, and Asuka's already gone. There was just things that didn't seem right. Asuka just ran wild, and then all of a sudden she got taken out, and then it ended up being Shotzi and Liv. Liv hits Oblivion, finishes the match. So what'd you think about it all? And correct me on any of the stuff I was saying about it.
No, it was sloppy, but I think I think for practice purposes, like this was important to get all 6 of these people together in some capacity. It was just a great practice match that was needed, probably. They don't work together. I mean, Shotzi doesn't work with Alexa Bliss. Shotzi doesn't work with Liv Morgan. Raquel doesn't work with Asuka. So there was a lot of like you said, when Liv did the bomb to the outside of the ring, like you could tell it was short, and then they had to kind of move forward to make sure they got hit by it. There was a lot of things like that. But honestly, man, I didn't mind the ending. And the best part of it to me was Becky on commentary, who said a lot of things that gave you clues or just insights into the match tomorrow that I thought was like even more important than the match itself, to be honest with you. And then the ending, of course, where Becky comes in and does her thing, which I think also has some foreshadowing for tomorrow as well, in my opinion. Yeah,
there is a couple good spots too in the match. Raquel caught Alexa Bliss on a crossbody, tagged in Shotzi for an assisted neck breaker. So then Shotzi took over. She had a nice double leg drop, a stinger splash, hung up on the top ropes with a triangle, and then a snapback suplex into the corner, into the turnbuckle on Bliss. So she beat the hell out of Bliss. Then Bliss tried to do a sunset flip. Shotzi blocked it and put her into a Boston Crab. Then that's when Asuka got the hot tag and then came in with the hip attack to Evan. So, yeah, it was cool to see the different, the Raw versus SmackDown. That, it's like I said, the purpose of these matches was to get people that aren't normally in matches together messing around with each other, ahead of the match that they're all going to be together tomorrow. Same as that Battle Royal had guys that aren't usually in matches together. That's what this was. So, for what it was.
Rehearsal.
But yeah, I thought Shotzi looked good in the match. Raquel always looks good in spots. I didn't feel like Lacey Evans got much in it. Liv Morgan botched a couple things, but whatever. I feel like Liv Morgan works better when she's with somebody who's experienced or somebody bigger than her. I feel like when she's with somebody who's, somewhat young, that's when things get sloppy with Liv Morgan. And they definitely did with Shotzi, but she finished it nicely. So that's pretty much that.
Yeah, I felt like in this match, like Lacey Evans did basically nothing. I mean, she was
hit a women's
almost
right, and that's it.
And like with all the time that we wasted on the Natalya package, and you mean to tell me that Lacey Evans, Raquel, and Shotzi can't even get a proper entrance? Like, why was that? Why were they just in the ring with Raquel's music playing and that was it? I didn't understand, because there was a lot of time to waste in this match. I would have loved to have seen an entrance from three of the people that are going to be in one of the main events of a pay-per-view tomorrow. I mean, you'd like to see that, not just, three jobbers in the ring together. So that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think all the women were presented very strong in this match, but, and then people think that because Liv scored the pin that she's going to win the match, but I don't agree with that at all. So we get to Maxwell Male Models. Max Dupree gets to announce his guys. He's getting wadded during it, and then he brings out somebody we formerly know as Mace that he calls Marseille. And he starts breaking down his head-to-toe anatomy, even his ankles. Pat McAfee says the ankles look that good. And, McAfee's going off about the ankles. And we see Mansoor, who we now know as Mansoor. And he comes out, and he's got the fanny pack around his shoulder and hip and everything. It was funny, man. I thought this was actually a really funny segment. There's people first of all, McAfee was funny as hell. And Cole was cracking up. The people in the audience were. I actually thought it was a pretty good payoff to what we were seeing with Max Dupree.
Yeah, man, it was great. I mean, Michael Cole was visibly trying to hold back his laughter. It was very hard for him to hold it back when Pat McAfee's doing the titillating. It's titillating, and it's titillating my juices and all this crazy stuff. Man, was that funny. And, again, like these guys, Mansoor did such a good job of acting. He was acting like he was in some Calvin Klein perfume commercial where there's he's like horseback riding, like in the night with like a cape on or something. Like he had like a gaze into just a gaze on his face where he was just looking out into the stars and the clouds. Like it was so funny, man. I just don't understand how anyone can not enjoy this unless you don't have a sense of humor. I don't understand, how anyone could not like it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny, man. I mean, yeah, it was like I'd like to see when they're going to wrestle. I honestly think that's actually Mansoor and Mansoor and Mace, or Mansoor and Marseille. Like, it's a little cruiserweight guy and a bigger guy, and that's actually a good tag team, a good pairing, even though don't have many tag teams going.
Well, not to mention with a manager who's totally willing to do dirty stuff to get his maximum male models to the top. So that's, funny in and of itself too. I mean, the trio of them is pretty damn great. This was a very big moment in the career of Mace and Mansoor as well. I mean, you'd agree with that, right, Matt?
Yeah, it's definitely a big resurgence for them, or a big spot for them to be in. Seems like they are enthusiastic about it, the way that they were posing and everything, especially with their ankles.
Yeah, man. And also it's funny how they had like 8 cameramen at their feet, like taking pictures, like nonstop close-ups of them as if they were the biggest thing in the world. This was really funny, man. I don't see how anyone could not like this. Whatever. It's great. So what's the goal? They become a heel team now?
I don't know what the hell they're doing, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're heels. But we get the Money in the Bank.
Quite arrogant.
Yeah, he is. We get the Money in the Bank qualifying fatal 4-way match. Madcap Moss, Ezekiel, The Miz, Happy Corbin. Early in the match, Zeke power slams Madcap Moss. Then Moss takes over with a shoulder block. Just before Corbin comes in, starts working over Moss. Madcap hits a nice flying shoulder off the top rope on to Corbin before Miz and Corbin start working over Moss in the corner. Then Miz goes to charge Moss, and Corbin takes him out with a chokeslam. Zeke and Madcap then start beating the hell out of Miz. Corbin then wipes out The Miz as well. He takes a choke slam to Zeke onto the announce table at ringside. We had to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, we got Miz and Madcap in the ring. Madcap hits a shoulder block again. He takes out Corbin and The Miz all at once, and we get a Tower of Doom spot during the commercial that we're showing. I don't know why the hell they're taking a commercial when they know they got a Tower of Doom spot coming up, but Corbin picked up a superplex that I think Miz and Moss were trying to give to Ezekiel, slam them all down. But then we get Madcap catapulting Miz into Corbin's balls, gives him a low blow there. Then Zeke breaks up the pinfall. Got flying crossbody by Zeke. Zeke starts hitting his offense on everyone, does the fallaway slam. Miz then kicks Zeke and Moss in the middle of the ring, hits a neck breaker. Corbin breaks up the pin on Moss. Then he hits a deep 6 on the Miz for a near fall. Zeke then hits a lariat, hits stinger splashes to Moss and Miz. Eventually, Corbin hits the end of days on Ezekiel, goes for the cover. Looks like Corbin's going to win. Madcap Moss comes in the ring, gets rid of Corbin, covers up Zeke, gets the 1, 2, 3, and Madcap Moss is your 7th and final Money in the Bank qualifying male.
Yep. Now, Ezekiel really got fucked in this whole thing, I think, because if they were going to have anyone else in this match, it was going to be a baby face, right? So we were going to have Kevin Owens, Ezekiel. Kevin Owens can't perform. Probably Ezekiel's going to win. So I guess they get to SmackDown and they're like, well, we can actually pick Madcap here. And that's what they did.
I think what they did was they planned on Ezekiel and Kevin Owens facing each other. Ezekiel was going to win. And then things changed. And like I said, sometimes when things change, they change what the outcome's going to be because I feel like they need to deliver something different. And so they gave us a different baby face. And quite frankly, Madcap is has more of an upside than Ezekiel does. So I think he's better for the match than Ezekiel. Especially, you already got, to have a 7-man ladder match and Ezekiel and Omos are in it, and somebody like AJ Styles isn't. Finn Balor's not. Name a bunch of guys that aren't in there. Ricochet's not in it. So Gunther's not in it. I don't care if he's the Intercontinental Champion. Like, it's ridiculous. If Omos is in it, then like anybody, it just brings down everything. I understand what they're doing with Omos, but like, it's just not necessary. We've seen the Giant in the match, that everybody's got to team up against and, take out with all kinds of weapons and whatever. We've seen the Giant that dominates the match and people run away from, like Seth Rollins did tonight. So, but
yeah,
I think they changed it to Madcap. That makes it a little bit more. Made the match tonight unpredictable. I mean, honestly, like, it was less predictable for Madcap to win tonight than Ezekiel. I think Madcap adds a little bit of more energy to the match than Ezekiel would have.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's just an interesting sort of development. And I mean, did you feel like this? I didn't feel this way, but do you think it could be considered like a cheap win the way that Madcap won, because he kind of basically stole Corbin's move and just took his pinfall?
Yeah, but the one thing that I did appreciate about it is that he hit the end of days and nobody kicked out of it. So that finisher still remains only kicked out of by Drew McIntyre the one time. I do understand Madcap stealing the pin, it kind of being a heel thing, but because he stole it from Corbin, it makes it acceptable to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. Yes.
Because Corbin, if he would have stolen somebody else's pin, then that would have made it look a lot cheaper. Because he stole Corbin's pin, it's like he's giving Corbin more of what he deserves. But it's getting to the point where he needs to leave Corbin alone. He's making me gain sympathy for Corbin. But
I know we're about wrapping up, but on the Becky coming in and only attacking Asuka, obviously I understand why it happens, why she's pissed at Asuka. Do you think that's any foreshadowing to tomorrow, that Asuka needs payback on Becky, needs to get something back for what she did the prior night, and maybe ruins this for Becky? Is that a possibility? I know you've said quite a few times you think Becky's going to win. I do too, but there was something weird about the way that ended, where it was only Asuka. It wasn't like she just went a beeline for Asuka, manhandle slam, screw you, Alexa Bliss, don't care about you, Liv Morgan, just Asuka.
yeah, I think I just think that that's who she's been feuding with, so they had her make her statement doing that. Everybody else gets out of there. I don't know that anything they've done is indicative of who's going to win or not. I think it's just, to me, you got to think about who's in. So, okay, we'll talk about who we think's going to win right now. For the women, you have Alexa Bliss. I don't think she's going to win. She's won it in the past several years. She's not winning, in my opinion. Liv Morgan, no. She cannot handle carrying a briefcase and she can't cut promos. You need to be able to do that to hold a briefcase. Also, a babyface. We have two babyface champions. Raquel Rodriguez, great competitor, a little bit young. Don't think she's going to win. Shotzi, been impressive. She's a heel, would fit the role. She'd be a very dark horse. Don't think she's going to win. Lacey Evans, they want to push that story and everything. Don't think she's going to win. That leaves Becky Lynch, right? Besides Asuka, I don't think Asuka's going to win either. She won like 2 years ago. She's not winning. It's going to be Becky Lynch, in my opinion. And then that way she can get a match with Bianca Belair or do something like that. And that can happen at SummerSlam.
Okay. The odds just hit for this match. They just went up from Vegas. Or not Vegas, but online, the offshore sports books. So who do you think? Becky Lynch is the favorite, but not by a lot. If you know anything about odds in our audience, if you don't understand odds, whatever, Becky Lynch is plus 150. That means she's the favorite. So, meaning if you bet $100 on Becky Lynch, you would win 150. Now, the second favorite, who do you think it is, Matt? The second favorite?
Alexa Bliss.
No, it's Liv Morgan plus 200.
That was the next person I was going to say, but this Liv Morgan stuff, it's like, come on, man. It's not winning.
Well, they're certainly trying to make her look strong, man. I mean, I was speaking to someone before, before you, and they were saying to me that, they really feel like Money in the Bank is kind of a way to make stars, and it's a way that they've used the briefcase in the past to put someone in the position that they normally wouldn't be in. I'm just telling you that Liv is the second favorite plus 200. Then the third favorite is Lacey Evans at plus 300. Behind her is Alexa Bliss at plus 400. And then we dive off the cliff to Raquel Rodriguez plus 800. Asuka plus 1,000, really surprising. Meaning Asuka has basically no chance. I mean, you could bet $100 and win 1,000 on Asuka, and then Shotzi plus 3,000, basically saying she has zero chance. So, if you look at the odds and you look into it a little bit, it's quite surprising that Liv Morgan is that low to me, and that's just my kind of 2 cents on that.
Well, it's because she just won by a pinfall tonight.
Yeah, but if you have to make a bet in Vegas, they also know they're like, oh, Becky Lynch, she's only Liv Morgan's basically the same odds as her. All I'm saying is that Liv has a definite chance. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's smart. I'm not saying it's like the perfect move. I'm just saying she's got a chance, and they are making her look strong. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. I think it's going to be Becky. I mean, who do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be Becky, but I wouldn't be surprised if Liv won now. And I think, I wouldn't be shocked after what I saw tonight. Wouldn't be shocked.
All right. So, what about for the men? We got Riddle, Rollins, McIntyre, Sheamus, Sami Zayn, Omos, Madcap Moss. Who the hell else is in it? Anybody else?
Omos.
I said Omos.
Oh, sorry. Riddle, Madcap Moss, Omos, Rollins, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre.
There's one more. There's 7 people. Riddle, Rollins, Omos, Sheamus, McIntyre, Zayn, Moss.
Zayn. Yep.
All right. So, what do you got on that one?
Just pulling it up, going into the section.
Oh, forget about the odds, man. What do you think's going to happen?
I think Rollins is going to win.
So do I. I think Rollins is going to win this match. If anybody else is going to win, it's going to be Riddle, but I think it's going to come down to Riddle and Rollins on top of the ladder. Rollins is going to hit the rolling knockout punch on him or something from the top of the ladder, and that's going to end the match. Briefcase.
Once again, tonight we're in Phoenix, Arizona, another section of the country. WWE is not normally there for these type of events. And Riddle is the most popular thing everywhere he goes. It's kind of crazy, man. It's just true. I mean, the crowd was the most up for Riddle. And then when he got, eliminated tonight, it was kind of like a big deflating blow out of the, you could tell it was very deflating for the crowd.
Yep. So you ready for the trivia question?
Yep.
All right. In what city was Becky Lynch born in?
Dublin.
Incorrect. One more chance.
Ooh. guess, man. If I knew another city, and it's somewhere in Ireland. How's that for a guess?
It's not somewhere in Ireland. It's Limerick, Ireland. Oh.
Boom.
Becky Lynch was born. But anyway, I think Rollins is going to win the Money in the Bank men's. Lynch is going to win the women's. I think Lashley will win the U.S. title. I think both women's champions will retain and the Usos will retain. What do you think?
There you go. I think Becky, I'll go with Becky and Seth. I will go with Austin Theory retaining the title. And then I'll go with the Usos to retain. And, of course, the Ronda Rousey to retain.
And Belair, right?
And Belair, of course, yeah.
Yeah, she's not losing to Carmella. I mean, that Carmella match should be a 2-minute match. You should hit the kiss of death and end it. Like, she has not been on television. I'm not trying to disrespect Carmella or her abilities or anything like that. They haven't presented her as a main event talent. So, whatever. They'll probably have a great match, but whatever.
That could be a match, man, where Bayley comes in and gets involved somehow.
Oh, I guess we'll see, man. I guess we'll see if they do anything special for Money in the Bank. But,
we will.
Yeah. But follow me on Twitter at WWE. Available on all podcast platforms. Leave us a 5-star rating or a review. And join us on Patreon, Beyond the Mat Podcast. $1. We'll get rid of all the ads for you. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Brad, for joining me.
Thank you.
We're out of here.
Thanks for listening to Beyond the Mat. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss a show.